Yo, what's up my overpowered otaku fam? You know what time is it? It's time to dive into the world of Isekai. You know, getting hit by a truck and transported to another world, or being summoned by some god to fight a demon king, or randomly reincarnated even though you're not meant to be there? Well, let's begin with a banger intro. Number 10. My Isekai Life. Imagine being zapped from your boring office job into a magical realm where you're the ultimate monster master. That's what happens to Yuji in My Isekai Life. This lucky dude gets transported to a fantastical world and immediately befriends the cutest, most powerful slimes ever. These slimy buddies share their wisdom, transforming Yuji into a supreme sage with mind-blowing abilities. He may be clueless at first, but Yuji soon unleashes devastating powers. Though the storyline is typical Isekai fare, it's an entertaining ride watching the lovable slime squad and their overpowered human pal go on adventures. If you're a fan of genres where the hero becomes crazy strong, plus you adore adorable slime sidekicks, then My Isekai Life delivers fun times. Number 9. Black Summoner. Imagine waking up in a magical world with no memories but crazy epic powers. That's exactly what happens to Kelvin in the awesome anime Black Summoner. This lucky dude's past self struck a mind-blowing deal. He sacrificed his memories to become the ultimate summoner with abilities off the charts. Even better, Kelvin convinced the breathtakingly beautiful goddess of reincarnation to be his servant. Talk about hitting the jackpot! Get ready for non-stop action as Kelvin summons adorable slime companions and a harem of lovely ladies to join him on legendary quests. Sure, the characters are totally over the top, but that's what makes this isekai so insanely fun. If you're craving an anime with an overpowered hero, fantasy worlds, and loads of excitement, you need to watch Black Summoner. Number 8. The Executioner and Her Way of Life. You think getting transported to another world with awesome powers would be a daydream, right? Well, not in this anime. The Executioner and Her Way of Life follows Minu, a priestess whose job is to eliminate people brought into this world whose abilities are too dangerous. Just when Minu thinks she's taking down another threat, she meets Akari, a girl who can't seem to kill. The world building is super unique, combining cool fantasy elements with a fresh premise. While the characters are a bit flat, the exciting plot will definitely keep you hooked. If you're into action-packed shows where not everyone is as powerful as they seem, with a twist on the typical isekai storyline, then this anime delivers big thrills. Number 7 is an anime called Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. It's about a guy named Michio who gets transported to a video game-like world. He gets powerful gear, defeats some bad guys, and starts gathering a harem of girls around him. That's pretty much the whole plot. It's a dark fantasy anime with some mature content, so it's not really for kids your age. The story moves slowly, but that lets you get to know the characters a little bit better. Overall, it's a decent anime for older viewers who like harem stories set in fantasy worlds, but you should probably stay away until you're older. Number 6. Parallel World Pharmacy. It's about a guy named Kanji who works too hard and dies. But then he gets reborn in a fantasy world as a 10-year-old boy named Pharma. His dad is a famous pharmacist there. The twist is that only rich people can get proper medicine in this medieval world. If you love chemistry and medical stuff, you'll totally dig this show. Even if it's not your thing, it explains everything simply. It's not the most amazing ever, but it's a cool spin on the typical fantasy tale. The animation looks great, the story moves along nicely, and it has a fun, confident vibe that makes it really entertaining to watch. Number 5 is Life with an Ordinary Guy who reincarnated into a total fantasy knockout. And if you can tell by the name, it's super wacky. Imagine you and your buddy get transported to a fantasy world with superpowers. But when you look at your friend, they've turned into a girl. Crazy, right? That's exactly what happens here. To change back, the guy has to go on an epic adventure with his new girlfriend to defeat the Demon Lord. At first, the show seems weird, but it's actually really funny and entertaining. The gender-bending twist is hilarious. Sure, it's not super deep, but it doesn't need to be. It's just meant to make you laugh with its goofy and outrageous story. If you think swapping genders sounds amusing, then you'll love this anime. Number 4 is called Trapped in a Dating Sim. It's about a guy whose sister makes him finish a dating game so she can see all the scenes. After beating it, he falls down the stairs and dies. But then he gets reborn in that same dating game world as a regular character. The crazy part is, he remembers everything from playing the game before. Sometimes, the simplest stories are the most fun, and this one nails it. It has a great cast of characters and an awesome hook that keeps you hooked the whole time. If you're into fantasy worlds where the guy gets transported and gets not just one, but multiple pretty girls after him, then this harem anime is totally for you. Number 3 is Reincarnated as a Sword. It's like a typical fantasy world story, but with a crazy twist. The main character is literally a sword. After dying, this guy wakes up in a new world as a talking sword. Can you imagine? Then he meets Fran, a catgirl slave who's praying to get stronger. By chance, she finds the sword and names him Teacher. The best part is how it flips the usual isekai story on its head. Instead of a guy getting transported and surrounded by girls, it's about a sword becoming a father figure to Fran. Their awesome father-daughter bond is something totally new and fresh for this type of genre. If you want an anime that puts a fun, unique spin on the fantasy rebirth tale, then this one is a must-watch. Number 2 is Uncle from Another World. You know all those stories about people getting transported to fantasy worlds? Well, this one is different. Takafumi's uncle got hit by a truck in 2000 and was in a coma for 17 years. But when he wakes up, he claims he actually spent that time in a magical world called Grand Bahama, and he's got crazy powers to prove it. The show is jam-packed with hilarious references to old tech like flip phones and Sega Genesis. It's like a fun throwback to the 90s and 2000s. While not technically an isekai, it puts a fresh, unique spin on that genre. Sure, it may not be the greatest ever, but it's an awesome, entertaining series you'll definitely want to check out. Number 1 is The Eminence in Shadow, and it's seriously underrated. This anime is one of the biggest surprises and my total favorites this year. It follows Sid, a kid from modern Japan who's obsessed with being a superhero. He's what you would call a chunibyo, someone who daydreams about having special powers. But then, Sid literally gets hit by a truck and reincarnated into a fantasy world with real magic. Instead of the typical harem stuff, Sid is just lazy yet also an awesome badass hero. It's such a fresh and entertaining mix. If you're into shows with unique, lovable protagonists and epic fantasy action, minus the romance subplots, then you've got to check out this hidden gem. It's an absolute blast. And there you have it, folks, the top 10 isekai anime with OPMC that made us feel so insignificant yet motivated at the same time. Anyways, make sure to smash that like button and shout out your favorite OP isekai protagonist in the comments. Who knows, maybe if we believe hard enough, we could get isekai too. Until next time, see ya.